For all intents and purposes, they are American, woven into the fabric of this country, which is why 12 years ago, President Obama took action.
Their shoes. Imagine you've done everything right your entire life. Studied hard, worked hard, maybe even graduated at the top of your class, only to suddenly face the threat of deportation to a country that you know nothing about, with a language that you may not even speak. I will not give up on this issue, not only because it's the right thing to do for our economy, and CEOs agree with me, not just because it's the right thing to do for our security, but because it's the right thing to do, period. And I believe that eventually enough Republicans in Congress will come around to that view as well.
They did not. In the end, President Obama was unable to pass comprehensive immigration reform, despite a bipartisan deal being reached with 68 votes in the Senate to provide a pathway to citizenship. Republicans in the House blocked it. In 2016, Republicans nominated Donald Trump, who on the campaign trail made attacking immigrants part of his platform. As part of that effort, Trump pledged to roll back all of President Obama's achievements, including DACA.
One good thing.
You'll rescind the Dream Act executive order, DACA.
We have to make a whole new set of standards. And when people come in, they have to.
So you're going to split up families. Chuck, you're going to deport children.
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out?
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
We will work with them. They have to go.
When Trump was elected, he made good on at least one of those promises. In 2017, the Trump administration tried to rescind DACA, declaring it unlawful and unconstitutional. But the backlash was swift. Lawsuits were filed, and Trump's action was quickly tied up in the courts. In the meantime, the Trump administration moved forward with other plans, an immigration and border strategy that was as abhorrent as it was inhumane. At least 5,000 families forcibly separated, children torn away from their parents, all as a result of Trump's zero-tolerance policy. The impact of Trump's border policy so vast that nearly 1,000 children remained, to this day, separated from their families. In June 2020, a few months before the presidential election, the United States Supreme Court ruled that Trump could not proceed with his plan to end DACA. It was a huge victory. DACA was temporarily saved. President Biden came into office determined to turn the page on Trump's divisive immigration policies and find a legislative solution. Earlier this year, you'll remember this, a group of senators released a bipartisan agreement to impose tougher immigration and asylum laws. Yet another attempt at immigration reform in Congress looked like it might pass until Donald Trump torpedoed it in an effort to deprive Biden of a key policy victory. 2 weeks ago, President Biden signed an executive action that would enact immediate restrictions on asylum seekers at the southern border. And today, he announced the most significant immigration policy change since Obama unveiled DACA 12 years ago. President Biden using his executive powers to keep American families together. Biden's executive action today grants far-reaching protections to the undocumented spouses of American citizens, a move that would shield an estimated 500,000 people from deportation. In order to qualify, non-citizens must have been living in the U.S. for at least 10 years and be married to a U.S. citizen. They also cannot have a criminal record. Biden's actions today would also provide opportunities for work permits and eventually residency and citizenship down the road. It is an example, a shining example of the government taking direct action to stay true to the core values of this country, to fix problems affecting American families.
These couples have been raising families, sending their kids to church and school, paying taxes, contributing to our country for 10 years or more. Matter of fact, the average time they've spent here is 23 years, people were affected today. But living in the United States all this time with this fear and uncertainty, we can fix that. And that's what I'm going to do today. Fix it.
Joining us now, one of the people you see there over the president's shoulder, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being with us on this historic day. Obviously, welcome news for a lot of American families. Walk us through how this policy is going to work.
Alicia, thanks so much for having me. Good evening. This is all about family unity. keeping families together. A United States citizen spouse whose wife or husband is undocumented and has been in this country for 10 years or more, that undocumented spouse may now have a path to a green card, to lawful permanent resident, without having to do what they once did, which is leave the country and apply for that benefit without any assurance of when precisely they'll be able to return. Now they can apply by staying together with their spouse, their U.S. citizen spouse, and also, so very often, their children, including U.S. citizen children. It's about family unity, a primary goal of our immigration system, a fundamental value of our country. And today, President Biden, in the face of congressional inaction, took the action a leader takes.
Secretary Mayorkas, how soon will people be able to apply for this program?
We intend to open the process up for applications towards the end of summer. We are moving very, very rapidly because of the humanitarian objective of this program and the humanitarian need for it.
So while you are focused on the humanitarian need, Trump advisor Stephen Miller called today's action, quote, unconstitutional executive amnesty for illegal aliens. Your response, Secretary?
I'll drive right by that. There is very little, if anything, that Stephen Miller says with which I agree. He condemns immigrants, whether legally here or otherwise, and so many have contributed so significantly to the well-being of our country in terms of local communities, our national economy. We need people who are willing to work hard to serve on the front lines, like so many of the Dreamers have done for so many years. They're a shining example of what is accomplished and what can be accomplished when we open our arms to those who have been here for so long and who really know no country other than ours as their home.
Miller also said his group, America First Legal, would challenge today's action in court. Can you talk me through how in the crafting of this specific policy, the administration has anticipated such legal challenges?
Alicia, what we do before we take action is we study the law and ensure that the actions that we take are indeed lawful. That we have done with respect to this action, like we have done with all our prior actions. It is no surprise that Stephen Miller intends to attack this in the courts. We stand by it, not only in terms of its legality, but in terms of its significant public benefit for America.
The New York Times wrote that, quote, today's new policy allows Biden to balance his recent crackdown on asylum with a sweeping pro-immigrant measure. Should these two executive actions be seen as separate or as complementary?
I think they reflect the president's overarching approach, which is the fact that we can secure our border, as it is our responsibility to do, and we can take action to make the immigration system more fair and just. Both can be done. Both are not exclusive of one another. And that is precisely the approach that President Biden has taken from day one. And it is on day one of his administration that he first presented Congress with a comprehensive legislative proposal to fix what everyone agrees is a fundamentally broken immigration system. Unfortunately, Congress does not act.
It seems notable to me that this parole in place concept for spouses of U.S. citizens, it's not new, right? You've had a policy like this since about 2017 for U.S. members of the American military. You know what this looks like. You know how this works. Similarly, I think it's interesting that their efforts to actually build on DACA, one of the parts of the announcement today was the president additionally making it easier for DACA recipients to receive work visas. Talk to me a little bit about how that's going to work.
These are individuals, DACA recipients, dreamers more broadly, who have received a degree, a higher education degree, who qualify for skilled labor in the United States, something which we need desperately, and every chief executive officer around the country will say so. And rather than have to have that blocked, we now have opened access to a benefit for which they qualify and made it available to them. Here again, we are matching an American need with an American opportunity, and that opportunity rests in the hands and qualities and talent of people who already have contributed so much.
We're going to talk to one of those recipients, someone who's going to benefit from this program in just a minute. But before we go, President Biden, he campaigned on making a safe, orderly, and humane immigration system. Do you believe that that has been accomplished?
We work at that every single day across the Department of Homeland Security, across our administration, with our partners to the south and around the world. We have established more lawful, safe, and orderly pathways than any other administration, and we are working every day to strengthen the security of our border. Fundamentally, we are perennially underfunded, and we are dealing with a broken immigration system, which is why a bipartisan group of senators came together, made compromises, and presented one of the most groundbreaking and important legislative proposals that we've seen in 30 years. And it was, as you noted, blocked. And so the president has taken and will continue to take action to do what Congress has proven unable to do. That is leadership.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas with us on a historic day. Thank you so much, Secretary, for your time.
Thank you, Alicia.